thanks for sitting down and having a chat with me. I appreciate it. Um, so, yeah, do you think that you could just kind of start off by telling me a little bit about yourself, please?
Right. So I'm June. Hi. I'm a voice actor in Los Angeles with a studio and mainly focusing and heavily active in the narration types of projects in the Korean language all over the world, but more primarily in character acting in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah, that's great. Have how long have you been a voice actor? Like how
Oh
long's your journey
wow.
kind of spanned?
It's well, the my journey as an actor really began in 1996, a long time ago, but specifically into voice acting in 2016.
I was born in 1996, so for me that's forever.
Oh no, I'm old.
So recently you've joined the cast of Genshin Impact, as a lot of people seem to these days. Can you tell me a little bit about your character in that, and how he fits into that game's world?
I play a number of NPCs, non-playable characters who appear in the background, who are part of the main story quests in Genshin Impact. With the expansion into a new country called Inazuma, a number of characters appeared in order to move that story forward. And as a personal fan of that video game and the story and the characters and everything that is Genshin Impact, it was a tremendous honor and a supreme joy to be a part of that franchise in this way. It was amazing and continues to be.
What was the process like for recording that? Did you was it mainly just in the studio, or was there any kind of motion capture at all involved?
Not unlike anything else, really. All the studio sessions I've done so far, due to COVID and other reasons, I've done it from this very space with a different microphone that's up here, not this one. Uh, but it's getting a live call, be directed by Chris Vaya, amazing, phenomenal director and in charge, our leader, fearless leader, taking us through the journey. Every time I get in a session, I'm grateful and appreciative and just frankly mind blown at his directing capability. It's been a pleasure every time.
So you mentioned that you're in like a home studio. Did you have that built prior to COVID, or was it like a mad scramble to kind of get everything together?
As a matter of fact, even before the pandemic hit, in the way that it has, I've always had a home studio. Primarily because the clientele that I serve are all over the world, and I don't have a studio that I can walk into next door and just readily use their facilities. So I knew about the importance of having a solid home studio from the get go. I believe I purchased my first Whisper Room back in 2017 and been operating out of that ever since. And right before the pandemic, I believe in January or February, I purchased the studio bricks in which I'm operating out of now.
Is that just like inside of your home then, like it tucked away in kind of a corner?
Right. So this thing that you're seeing right now is a 4 foot by 6 foot booth, prefab booth that you build inside a room. So it's about creating this recording environment inside of another room, which is my office in my house. And in here are the sound absorbing foam pieces and rock wool. People know what that is, along with connection capabilities, microphones, monitors that I'm talking through with you right now, and webcams and such.
So how does it being an other than the fact that you kind of enclosed in a space, how does voice acting differ for you than kind of more traditional acting like on screen?
I I have nothing but the greatest amount of respect for on-screen actors. I've tried it, and it's definitely not for me. It's so hard. It's very difficult. Like awesome. At the same time, I come from the world of the stage acting world, so fundamentally there are grave amounts of differences, drastically different elements about the logistics and the mechanics and so on and so forth, and the processes that take both of those worlds, as well as on camera work as well, of course. But I genuinely and wholeheartedly believe that voice acting is indeed one of the more difficult means and realms and medians of our creation of art. Um, One evidence that I might provide to support my claim is that on stage we have so much more physical and spatial stimulation and support and assistance, like other actors and costumes and lights and sound and music. Same thing with on camera, on set we have, or on location with costume and sound effects and explosions, I suppose, the guns in our hands and swords in our scabbards. In voice acting, we don't have any of that. We have this and my imagination. That's all we have. And I, because of the limitations that we're given as actors, with those higher walls within our boundaries, I think it's more interesting and more engaging and more impressive, to be quite frank, to be able to pull off those authentic performances and deliveries that are required for these major projects.
Well, like you mentioned earlier, you play a number of NPCs in Genshin Impact. How does that kind of feel? Like one day you're in the booth as one guy, and then the next day you're a completely different character. Do you have to get yourself into any kind of headspace to kind of to sort of be a background character in that way?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Background characters are still very much people in that universe. That's how I view acting. Like you and I are real people in this universe that we're in, and if the characters in Genshin Impact were to examine our lives and our universe through a PDF on a computer screen, they will see the same thing as we see them as well. So no matter how many lines a character might have or might not have in a given script, every entity, every character, every dragon that flies through the air that we don't have in this universe, as far as I know, are indeed real life creatures and people and characters that deserve their own density of content, perhaps. And under that philosophy, I operate. Even if they're NPCs with 2, 3 lines in its entirety in their own existence, I still treat them as full-fledged, complete human beings and characters. And when we think about it that way, when I think about it that way, I connect it back to me as the actor, who have different personas and different masks, perhaps, that I might wear. I'm certainly a different type of person in a formal interview, kind of like this. Hello, and I'm very different when I'm playing with my kids after work day is over. I'm very different when I'm working with other actors in a coaching capacity. I'm very different in business meetings with clients from France or Brazil. Because we all carry these different personas and masks around with us on a daily basis. I like to think of playing these different characters using those same, similar, if not same, personas and extensions and versions of myself breathed into them.
I love that philosophy. That's a great way to kind of, I think, look in anybody's life for sure. In fact, like I think you're quite right when you talk about NPCs. I remember when Skyrim first came out, I just follow all the different characters around, trying to map out where it is that they're going. And you're right, it makes it feel more real for sure. Um, so
Waiting for Pixar to make a movie one day about NPCs. I don't know.
well, maybe. I mean, Free Guy just came out. That's about an NPC of some kind.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, as an Asian American voice actor, like at Voquent, we care quite a lot about authenticity of representation and diversity among voice acting. How does it feel to kind of like do you feel like you faced any specific challenges, or do you feel as though you're like a vanguard of you know representation in that domain?
It's a huge element of any art form, I think, any medium, any genre. It spans. It's on a grander scale. I think it spans to every art of creativity that's out there, whether it's written or visual or audible, oral or physical, even. Uh, the when I visited the what was that place called? It was like a music museum of music, something along those lines, somewhere in America. It's in the East Coast somewhere. I remember coming across the Korea section of the international music display, and kind of seeing all the Korean instruments that were on display to represent the Korean aspect of the music spectrum on a global scale was a point of pride and connection. And I felt that exact same way when I was given the opportunity to voice Jae-yoon in Brawlhalla. It's a video game franchise by Ubisoft, and their 50th character that they released was this Korean character, and they specifically sought me out because of my Korean heritage and my accent and my ability to be bilingual in that recording session. And what the end product that came out eventually was this beautiful harmonization of the English expressions and terminologies combined with Korean expressions and the accentuation that you're hearing from my natural speaking voice, all kind of melted together to bring together this beautiful and interesting portrayal of that Korean character. Which, to my knowledge, as far as I knew back then, had not existed, as far as I know. Since then, we've seen an explosion of the priority that's been placed in proper representation in the media. I have to bring in Edward Hong into the whole mix, who is the leader of the PGMBO list, People of Global Maturity voiceover list, which apparently features now over 1,000 voice actors from around the world that represent different regions and worlds and cultures and languages and ethnicities in conjunction with the other voiceover lists for LGBTQA folks, as well as everyone else who feel that their identity, their culture, their thing that they abide by are not properly, if not well represented in the media. And as a Korean voice actor, as an Asian voice actor, it fills me with pride every time anything is represented correctly and properly in the media space. And we've certainly come a long ways from the jazz singer and other iterations of misrepresentation, intentionally, misintentionally, perhaps, but certainly in 2021 and in 2022, and as we move forward, I think we'll see a lot more of that exact movement towards proper representation, thanks to the accessibility of various talent and thanks to the implementation and evolution, frankly, of technology like this.
Yeah, it's always fantastic to see because of the fact that it's much easier to hide someone behind a microphone and they just do an impression of what they think someone from a certain culture sounds like. And instead of doing that, finding someone who's actually genuinely from that background is always fantastic to see. By the way, I apologize if I'm looking over like this. It's because you're on my screen here, and I'm just like it clicked with me a minute ago. I was like, camera,
We're in a Zoom age, please. You're good. I got you.
So as a voice actor, what's your favorite part? What's your favorite thing about doing what you do?
Happiness. It's such. I know what it sounds like, and I know why you're chuckling, and along with everybody else who just chuckled at me saying happiness just now, I'm aware of it. But I have to tell you, um, yeah, a fantastic indicator of this, and I've mentioned this in a few other episodes, other interviews I've done. Um, I don't look forward to the weekend. And I don't dread Mondays. Uh, I, this really has to sink in for you and the audiences who are watching this. I do not look forward to the weekend. I don't sit here on Friday afternoon thinking I can't wait to be done with this week. I don't think that. I don't feel that. And I'm not sitting here a Sunday night going, "Ugh, here comes Monday." I don't feel that way. I'm living my genuine, authentic happiness, and I've been fortunate, very much fortunate and blessed in whatever spiritual way, um, to have combined my passion and my interest and my enthusiasm with my career. And I think that's such a rare thing. And for those who have attained it, I think they'll know exactly. I think they'll resonate exactly with me on this idea. And I can't be thankful enough for my clients and my colleagues who have brought me here today.
Kind of like you've found a calling kind of thing.
Above and beyond, above and beyond. I can't imagine doing anything else for work now. Now that I have found this, it only took 36 years. Here we are.
That's fantastic. Um, oh yeah, no, I saw that. I saw that you are planning on producing a podcast next year. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Like what kind of things you're planning on putting up on the podcast, and the kinds of guests that you'll have? I'm really interested to hear about that.
Yeah. Me in the podcast space isn't anything that's new. I want to start there first and foremost. The very first podcast that I produced and directed was called a Voice Actor Showcase. Um, mid 2017, I think, or 2018, something like that. And uh, back in those days, back in 2018 or so, the landscape of podcasts and all the things and shows and programs that were connected to the voiceover industry were rather scarce. I remember the voice acting mastery, Crispin Freeman, Talking Tunes with Rob Paulson, the Viopreneur with Mark Scott, and number of other like really great podcasts, but there just weren't that many. And from my perspective, one area of podcast area that none of the other podcasts had ever covered, at least from my perspective, were the stories and journeys of everyday voice actors like myself. And sure, the other amazingly phenomenal podcast had featured these guests and stories and people who came on the show to tell these really amazing stories, from which we've all learned, of course, and tips and tricks and guidance and all these things, which were great and beneficial and valuable. And I appreciated every single episode, and I have listened to every single episode. Um, but from my perspective, I really wanted to tell the daily stories of everyday voice actors who are not currently working full time in Hollywood. The voice actor in St. Louis, Missouri, in the basement with a blue Yeti inside the closet. I wanted to tell those stories. So from that point on, for the next 44 episodes, I released an interview with a working voice actor every week. Um, until life got to be too busy and my own career also moved forward and I ran out of time eventually, and I ended up inheriting that voice actor showcase to another voice actor to carry on the torch of the voice actor showcase in season 2. Vicky Ines is a fantastic voice actor and a content creator, and I believe she'll carry the torch as far as she can, and she's amazing. The Voice Actor Showcase Season 2 is now live on Spotify, Google, and Amazon. And on the back of that experience of producing that show, I'm carrying on to another show called The Final Punchline. I'm a dad in real life. I have two boys, and if anybody has ever been to my streams on Twitch or have interacted me on Twitter in some way, people will know that I'm a huge fan of dad jokes and everything pun-based things because they're awesome. And this podcast is going to be a long-form dad joke, if you will. Imagine a
Fantastic.
Imagine a 5-minute narration that ends with a final punchline. Final punchline.
Final fun.
There's a dad joke in the title. It's gonna be great. We're wrapping up season 1 right now. It's slated to premiere quarter 1 of 2022, and when the launch comes, I'll be sure to let you know, of course.
I'd appreciate that a lot. I'm sure everybody connected to us would be really interested. It's funny that you mentioned a Blue Yeti because I've got a USB Blue Yeti. That's what I'm using now.
The Yeti's a fantastic microphone, provided that it is operated inside a well-treated space, and the person operating the audio file in post-processing knows what they're doing.
Oh
The
well,
Yeti can be a very great microphone.
I can't promise that on my end, but no, that's actually a really interesting direction. Hopefully, it's not too off the cuff. But do you have any interesting kind of daily voice actor story that you want to say, or in lieu of that, a dad joke?
One so 44 episodes is a lot of folks. That's 10 months, right? Just about. There were instances in between. But I remember talking to a voice actor named Luis Bermudez. He's in Las Vegas, in Nevada. He's a full-time voice actor. He's getting his he's represented by CESD, many characters, of course, and his story of growing up and working on as a 18-year-old boy working on an Alaskan fishing ship prior to working as a voice actor, where he almost lost his feet from the hypothermia and the weather and the overwork. Good paying money, we all know Alaskan fishing, but the work is grueling. And his story about needing to go there due to money and circumstances, needing to be on that ship to work those things, and to have survived through it all, and how grateful he is to be a voice actor today who's find immense success in his journey is a great piece of inspiration for me of the tenacity of human beings and what we are capable of to get our happinesses, if you will. So Luis Bermudez voice actor showcase, I highly recommend it. Michael Schwalbe, another phenomenal talent, a musician, director, casting director, a voice actor. He's done literally thousands of characters in his career so far, and it's nothing short of an inspiration for happiness, and it's phenomenal, his stories and his recent discovery of his ADHD diagnosis and how that's affected him as a voice actor, as an entrepreneur, as a musician, and his relationship with his wife and his dog and all the other things. So there's these really interesting personal stories of voice actors in their own lives and how things have changed and how all of that has accumulated in them pouring themselves into their work. And it's a great expose on the diversity of our profession called voice actors in that way. And it'll forever be a piece of pride for me in my career, for sure.
Those are some pretty big career changes for sure.
Definitely so, and those stories are abound in across the 44 episodes that I've done so far. And just to leave you with a dad joke, since you asked, do you, Michael? Do you know where to go? Do you know where to go to weigh a pie? We all love pies, right? If you want to weigh it, how heavy is it? If you want to weigh it, do you know where to go?
I don't know where to go to weigh a pie.
I'll tell you, Michael. Somewhere over the rainbow Way up high.
I had a
Thank you.
feeling.
Very
I
good.
midway through, midway through, I was just like, I have a feeling I know where this
The
is
way the
going.
brain rots in this way, I derive such a sardonic pleasure from it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for that. Um, um, speaking of careers, if you could give yourself any career advice, actually, from to your 21-year-old self, what would you say?
To a young 21-year-old self, I would say that don't commit to voice acting. I would say commit
Mhm.
and go for it, but at the same time, be willing to also commit to changing it, shifting it, and being open to other possibilities at age 21 or 18 or 27 even. Um, as someone who has experienced drastic changes in career paths, I was a high school theater teacher for a number of years before turning into a voice actor. Um, and if I can do it at age 36, at age 21, the world is still very much, I would hope and imagine and advise, the world is all about sampling experiences, life journey to find a true happiness. Could you be a corporate employee doing a 9 to 5 in a cubicle and be happy? Absolutely. I have CPA friends and tax accountants who love crunching numbers on spreadsheets, and that's their happiness. Good for them. Absolutely. And if that's a happiness, if that's something that you look forward to Sunday night come Monday morning, then that's great. And I would advise a 21-year-old, no matter who they may be, to try to find that happiness. If it's a snowboard instructor, or a mechanic, or an engineer, or a marketer, or a social media person, or a street sweeper, if the thought of a impending weekend is not a source of like thing, or if you don't look forward to Monday as a dreading thing in this line of work you call happiness, then you found it. And in my experience, the fortunate ones, the truly, truly fortunate ones, discover that in their 20s. And everybody else, the rest of us, find it in their mid 30s.
That's fantastic. Um, well, what is there any purchase that you've ever made around like $200 that like has changed your life in some small way?
um, Around $200. Yes and no. Yes and no. Um, well, no. Yes, I would heavily say yes, indeed, actually. And if I tilt off my webcam here, I can show you.
Oh,
Um, like this right here, this stuff here, um, is insulation. Household, when they build houses and brick and mortar buildings, insulation that goes in the walls to maintain heat and so on and so forth. Insulation that goes inside the walls, called rock wool. And I believe this is one of the most unknown secrets of the universe in the voiceover realm. Rock wool, safe and sound. It's insulation made from granite rocks and volcanic rocks and from mineral sources. And the properties of the insulation is designed and engineered in such a way that it absorbs sound waves very efficiently. We could all have wonderful foam pieces that we can purchase everywhere, and it looks nice, woohoo. But per dollar, per pound, per weight, per mass, perhaps, nothing beats rock wool safe and sound. It doesn't look nice. Uh, it's wrapped in pillowcases inside my booth. I made a video about it on my YouTube channel, and it's supported by L-shaped metal brackets hung on the wall of my booth. So it doesn't look nice, but by golly, it functions and operates phenomenally. And it does work phenomenally to absorb the sound waves emanating from my mouth and the air molecules that are vibrating in this space in such a way that I can stand here and lead a battalion of 50,000 men into battle without reverb, without audio artifacts. Everything that my U87 captures in that extreme moment of stress and whatever emotionally charged line that I'm delivering, I'm fully confident, and it's been proven, fully confident that everything in here, especially the Rockwell Safe and Sound here and other places inside my studio, is working efficiently, expertly, to reduce and trap and absorb all the energy that I'm putting out from my mouth. And
Well,
it was about $200.
That's fascinating. I'll have to make sure to put that in whatever next blog we end up working on. At first, I thought you were going to point out the little Totoro in the corner. It's most expensive.
This is my booth animal, my booth buddy. Absolutely.
He's a very cute Totoro. So kind of moving towards the end, have you got a dream project, like anything, even if it's already been made? What would you love to work on, like anime or animation or video game or anything?
I would love. I don't know. I've never
There's a
really
lot of
thought
things.
about what I would want.
Yeah.
We throw around the expression of living the dream and passion and X, Y, and Z, but I really am. I couldn't be more content with my line of work. Can it be better? Can I have more clients? Absolutely. And Voquent has done a phenomenal job. Thank you very much. It was a great partnership decision to partner up with Voquent, and it's been a pleasure to work with the organization so far. But in this very
Thank you.
capacity, it's about moving forward and building these relationships and creating content like this that I wish I could maintain, and I hope to and plan to maintain until the day that I retire, which will be never. So until I cease to breathe, I'd imagine I'll be recording something on my deathbed. I guess that's what I would want. I guess that's what I would want. I don't have any specific desires about franchise or character or whatever. I just hope that I could do this in good health, in good company, in good health, with good food and good people and good weather here in LA until the day I die. And I would say, I guess that could be my thing that I would want. I want to stay in this for as long as possible, the way that it's happening right now.
It's a very nice answer. And got me blushing over here. The kind words. That's fantastic. Okay then. Well, just to close, is there anything that you want to, besides the podcast, but you can go into a few more details about that. Is there anything that you want to let people know? Anybody who's watching to check you out or where to go?
For more information about me, about who I am and the services that I offer, I would point people to my website, voicemodo.com. And for character work specifically, voicemodo.com/character. But one thing that I do want to push and promote as we come to a close is my Twitch stream. I'm having a lot of fun playing video games as I do. And as I stream video games, it's not just about coming to see other people play video games. I want to add in as much value as I can on top of my own enjoyment. And my Twitch stream is called C6 Impact. I want to have an impact on your personal and professional journey. And to achieve that purpose, I'll bring various lectures about voiceover industry, about marketing, about networking, about audio engineering, recording techniques, email tips, and working with various clients. What does it mean to be directed? What is ADR process like? So many other things. The topic is endless and infinite. So every now and then, on a consistent basis, I'll bring lectures with me to educate, to teach, to bring awareness to, and to spread information that are valuable and helpful to voice actors around the world. I've also brought on a number of colleagues as guests to interview them about their journey, and that part of that still continues from my voice actor showcase experience. The last guest I had on the show was Victoria Grace, the voice of Yara in The Last of Us Part Two. She is also the voice of the pomegranate cookie in the Cookie Run Kingdom that's on right now, and the voice of Luna Snow in the Marvel universe in that video game that came out, and many other things. Victoria is a phenomenal talent, and actress, and she had a lot of great advice and her journey to share, and there's a lot of information embedded in there, in addition to all the other voice actors and other members of the industry that I've interviewed on C6 Impact so far. And I advise you to go and check out the videos that we've created so far in my journey, and that's twitch.tv/voicemoto, twitch.tv/voicemoto, where you can watch the gameplay, come and hang out and have fun. I'm on there Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And come hang out with us. It's a great time playing video games and engaging with the audience and other voice actors. At the same time, gaining valuable information and hearing stories of other professionals who are working in the area.
That's fantastic. I'll definitely be. I'll link that into the video. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. I'm glad that we could have this chat.